figure I'd just vlog a little. So I'm going to take this time to remind you to subscribe to my channel. Click the notification button so you get notifications. But also like this video, share it, comment below if you like me, hate me, think I'm ugly. I think I'm ugly, but I'm not really into looking at guys and geese. But yeah, so like, share, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications. But in this, I'm, you know, hear my thoughts, my rantings, my ideology. Ugh. Scare everyone away. You know, but honestly, you know, I always carry a rifle in my vehicle. I just think that's a good thing to have, you know, because, you know, the fantasy of the Dread John scenario where the Chinese paratroopers, not the remake where they do the North Koreans took out the U.S. What it was supposed to be was originally the Chinese, but because of China, they took that out because, you know, we let China control Hollywood and control our cultural endeavors, which is evil to allow communists to dictate what you can and cannot do. But, you know, that Red Dawn scenario where we're at work or we're at our school and there's paratroopers jumping in and we gotta fight for our lives. You know, it's fantasy. You know, it's in the realm of possibility. I'm never gonna discount something like that happening. But it's pretty much pure fantasy when we think about it. But it's, you never know, it could be possible. Then, you know, the scenario where, you know, I'm with my kids or my family and we fly back to the car, we get to our vehicle and I grab my rifle to go take down the perpetrator. You know, if I'm with my family, I'm not going to be leaving them in a car. I'm just not. I'm probably going to stay there with the car. I'm going to grab my rifle, of course, because we've got an active shooter scenario. I'm probably going to try and leave if we can, but the rifle's going to be with me once I get to it, because your pistol is your basic defense, and you use it to hopefully fight to your rifle if you have to. But I mean, the scenario of me getting back to the car and I grab my rifle and I go meet the active shooter, you know, that's pretty much fantasy. You probably shouldn't do it. You know, you're probably going to get shot, or you're going to or you could be charged because now you're going and searching for trouble. I mean, it depends on your local jurisdiction. And it's situation dependent. There might be a situation where you have to do that. You know, that's why the backpack gun is kind of a, you know, a backpack, short rifle, PDW type of thing. Makes some sense, because then you have it on you, and that's what you would go to in a self-defense scenario. But to get a good quality PDW, you know, you're looking at, you know, you're probably going to want to get 300 blackout, and you're going to want something with an 8-inch or shorter barrel, which 300 blackout or the 8.6 blackout in, you know, that short barrel is it's still phenomenal, subsonic or supersonic. If you go subsonic, you're probably going to need to put a can on it. Now a Rattler, you know, the SIG Rattler, MCX Rattler, that's a great idea for a backpack gun, because you can fold the stock, you can even put a can on it and still really short. You can throw subs in there. Subs, it's super quiet. You throw supers in there and you're taking down suspects at distance. You're taking down an active shooter. And that's a great concept for a backpack gun. The problem with Rattlers is you know, the upper receiver, you can buy just the upper receiver and buy the adapters for a normal AR receiver. But you're looking at $1,300, $1,400, and that's not counting tax and shipping. So, but then you got that's a great backpack gun. But you got to realize, if you were to ever use that in a self-defense scenario, that gun is going to an evidence locker. It's going to an evidence room for at least a year, if not more, depending on their jurisdiction and if the feds get involved. And you know, and if it's a tax stamped, because you put a stock on it instead of a brace, which case, if you use it in self-defense, you better make sure you have a tax stamp if you put a stock on it, because you think the ATF's going to care. The federal government hates you. They don't care if you saved lives. They don't care if you saved your family's life. They don't care if you saved your life. They wanted you dead, so they're going to prosecute you for having an unregistered SBR. So you're taking a chance if you don't register. Now, the NFA is unconstitutional. Don't get me wrong on that. It is 100% unconstitutional. But you're taking a chance if you have an unregistered SBR and you use it for self-defense. You know, your local jurisdiction may not care because you got a great county prosecutor, great county sheriff, and you're in a super deep red area where the jury pool is going to throw out any even hint of it. But the feds, ATF's gay for a reason. They're going to come after you. They're going to be like, well, you killed someone with an unregistered SBR. And you'll be like, yeah, but I killed a bad guy. They'll say, yeah, but you killed someone, and we let that person in illegal in this country for a reason. You know, they'll come up with some BS, bogus crap like that. And the U.S. attorney, they're out there to make a name for themselves. They're out there to possibly run for a higher office eventually. I mean, you look at a lot of them go on to be governors, state attorney generals, senators. They're out there to make a name for themselves. If you know your area, you know your jurisdiction, you know the district court and the U.S. and the U.S. attorney for your area, and you know they're squared away constitutionalists. They think that this is all that stuff's bogus. Then yeah, go ahead. But you're taking a risk if you're not putting a brace on it. So let's say you put a brace on it and you carry it around. You still have a $1,400 gun in your backpack. That's not counting an optic and a light you're going to put on it. So let's say you go cheap on a optic, you put an Aimpoint Pro, which is probably the best optic you can get for your money. So that's $300 to $500 on an optic. And you put, let's say you put a Streamlight light on your weapon. So you're out 100, I forget how much Streamlights are, but $100. So you got probably $500, $600 extra into a $1,300 gun. So you have $1,900 sitting in your backpack. And if you use that in self-defense, it's going to a police evidence locker. Plain and simple. And you're not going to get it back for at least a year. That's for local police getting involved. You get the feds involved, you won't see that for I think George Zimmerman didn't get his pistol back for 4 years because the feds got involved. I'm surprised Kyle Rittenhouse got his rifle back. I was for sure the feds were going to get involved on that one with the way Dementia Joe was looking at it, and the way he criticized a boy defending himself from a pedophile. But, he is a pedophile, so the reason why he's called Pedo Pete by his family. Yeah, so how do you like my ranting so far? Kind of annoying. Some people find me annoying. A lot of people find me annoying. I've been called a flaming asshole at work. And it's not because I'm mean to people, it's just because I'm one of those anal retentive auditors, or accountants, forensic accountants, where, well, you didn't cross the T, why didn't you cross the T? But I love what I do, I really do. I love being an accountant. I also love guns, I love politics, and I do it all for my family, really. I mean, yeah, I do what I love, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to my family and putting food on the table for my kids and making sure my wife can stay home with the kids and watch them and probably go slowly insane because she's dealing with my kids. I mean, she made them. I mean, I just gave her the deposit. She shook the ingredients together and baked it for 9 months and then nursed them for a year and a half, 2 years. In case of my youngest daughter, that was almost 3 years. She did not want to give up breastfeeding. And she has her dad's eye. She has her dad wrapped around her finger. There's no question about it. My wife admits it. My oldest daughter says so too. do love looking at scenery. I love driving my pickup. There's something just Americana about driving your pickup places. Having a rifle right next to you, pistol in your waistband or on your hip. In my case, I'm carrying appendix as usual. You know, you pull up to some little piece of nature and you sit there looking out in your pickup. Something special about it. Let's jump to the next scene. Hey, well, different view for you guys. I'm in the minivan. Yep, we have a Toyota Sienna. Great minivan, recommended for anyone. I really kind of like the newer ones, even though they're hybrid, but the all-wheel drive, I like the way they do the hybrid. They put it's just an electric motor in the back, and it just activates when you need it for the all-wheel drive. So you don't have any moving part, any drive shaft or anything from the front to the back, which I kind of like. It simplifies the mechanics of it. And some people say, well, why would you want a minivan? Well, one, it holds my entire family, which I have 2 of them in the car with me. Si, Hannah está en la carro con tu papá y con tu hermano. So yeah, she's my youngest daughter's in here. She's in a dual language program, same as her older brother and older sister. And then her younger brother's in here. My wife's just in getting something real quick. As we run some errands for today, it's my wife's birthday, so wish her a happy birthday. And here we go. Whew. Hey, back up here. Just got done at Costco and our local farm and feed place. Had to get some chicken feed for our chickens. And I have no kids in the car right now, because or my wife's not in the car either, because our 2 youngest had to go to the bathroom. Our other 3 kids are at home, just probably goofing off, not doing what they're supposed to be doing, like cleaning their rooms or dishes or anything. That's the nature of having older kids and younger kids. Ooh, got a flare with that. So yeah, it's interesting doing the whole vlogging thing. Kind of liking it. Interesting how somebody with a boring life like me could actually do something like this. But yeah, so as usual, of course, I'm carrying concealed my Glock 19 appendix. I also got my rifle in the back, right behind my front seat. Pretty much just 90% of the time I have that rifle in here. I always take it in with me when we get home, though. I never leave my firearms in the car after I'm home. And when I'm at certain places long term, I have basically kind of a bike cable lock. Well, it's the cable that you can get for bikes. You just put a lock through it. And I run those through a bolt, usually in the bottom of one of my seats or in the back. In the case for a minivan, I actually have a chain wrapped around our folding rear seats, and I use one of those handgun cable locks you get. I run those through the action of the rifle and through the magazine well, if it's an AR pattern or even AK pattern, and then I lock it there, and I keep the whatever vehicle keychain for that vehicle, it has the key for that specific handgun lock, that action lock, and it's in my vehicle. I actually use those locks also when I travel TSA. When I put my gun in a Pelican, I put the cable lock through it as well. So the cable locks through the gun, goes in the Pelican, and the Pelican gets locked and gets checked. And I do that so if somebody decides to take the Pelican, they then have to break the lock on the Pelican, which, you know, give enough time, it's easy enough to do. And then they would also have to break the cable lock. And then, of course, I put trackers in them too, so at least I can track it. I at least know where the person is that stole the Pelican. But I don't really like to fly. I mean, I do like to fly. I actually think flying is kind of fun. Airports are kind of neat. My main problem is I don't like commercial flying. I've never flown private. I would like to get my pilot's license and be able to afford my own plane. Something like a Piaggio, I think it's the 180. It's the one with the propellers that point in the back. I actually think those are pretty neat little planes for a turboprop. because they actually are pretty fast. I think their top speed is like 400 knots. I think they cruise at 380. But their service ceiling is like 40,000 feet. So it's almost like you got a regular jet there, but it's a turboprop. I think that's a pretty neat little thing. Oh, my wife and kids are back, so I'll talk to you on the flip side. Hey, it's Esteban Parsons, your reasonable accountant here. So, you know, you've seen me throughout my day, sometimes running errands, car and stuff. Here at the back of my pickup as usual. I love this pickup. I've had it for a long time. I mean, it's a 93 Toyota pickup, so Hilux. I've been everywhere with it. I've hunted in it, slept in the back of it, slept in the cab a few times. It's a great pickup. In fact, I've had it longer than I've been married. But, okay, we've talked about my boots. You gotta see my pants. What I keep in my pants, in my pockets. Don't want to see anything else. You've seen my pistol and my rifle that I carry. So let's go a little more in depthly of my rifle. Okay, you know, I sometimes see the importance of carrying a rifle in your vehicle. I think it's important to have. And my main rifle is usually this rifle right here. Chamber's open, nothing in the mag well. Oh man, filthy. And I cleaned it too. But I removed the firing pin from this, so it is safe. So let's close the action up, shut the dust cover, tongue-tied there. So let's talk quickly about this rifle and why it's my go-to war rifle. It's the rifle that I grab if something were to kick off, you know, Red Dawn style, or, you know, Call to Arms rifle, the Minivan rifle. So let's start here at the tip, at the muzzle. I got my muzzle device here. Underneath the suppressor is says the Liberty Gunworks Knox with the chemo mount. So I have a Dead Air Sandman K with the end cap is the 5.56 end cap for flash suppression. And it's not the loudest, I mean, it's not the quietest suppressor. It's kind of loud, but you know, it does quiet the gun a little bit. It really does pretty well for flash, which is really nice when you're in night vision. Some people have had issues with dead air. I haven't. This Sandman K, I guess I should say I've had one issue. I didn't make sure it was tight, very tight. I thought it was on tight, but apparently it wasn't. Came loose during a firing string, and I put a round through my end cap. And so just had to replace the end cap. Baffles were okay, everything was okay. So now I just make sure it's on there super tight. I mean, you got to really put some effort to take this off quickly. For the light, all my lights and my scope, I have 100 Concepts covers, and this got the collar, so it makes it super easy to take off the bezel so I can replace the battery. This is a Cloud Defensive Rain. It's not their first Rain, I think it's their second generation. And I got the pressure pad. I want to change this out to their new pressure pad. It just has momentary on. I don't think pressure pads need to have constant on. I think you just need momentary. If you want momentary, you have the tail cap. My IR device is a B.E. Myers Mall, and it's been good. I taped the end of the cap so it doesn't click on and off or click on accidentally. Now it doesn't fire, but it does click on, and then there's a little light on the back here that turns on, and it starts a parasitic drain of the battery. My kids like to play with it, and they don't turn it off, and so I've been a few times where I grab it and it's off. So I put some electrical tape right there. I got Magpul MBUS Pro front and rear iron sights. I got this BCM grip, angled foregrip thing. I like it because I can really use it to push the rifle into my shoulder, give me good stability. This is a Noveske Generation 2, 14.5 inch barreled Afghan. So the muzzle device is pin and welded per ATF regulations, so it brings the overall length above 16 inches. So no need to worry there. When I rebarreled it, I had it rebarreled, and I, of course, had it pin and welded for the new barrel. But I put it came with a quad rail, because again, this is a Generation 2. And I put my gun store had a BCM KMR Alpha, so that's what I put on. And they had the titanium barrel nut, that's what I put on it. Moving to my red dot, this is an actual Aimpoint T1. I have some T2s, but the T1's been on this rifle for a long time, so I just keep it there. It's got a Arasaka mount for it that tilts it off to the side, so all I gotta do is put the rifle right here, and I got my red dot. My LPVO on a ScalarWorks mount. This is just the normal, it's not the tall one, it's the shorter one. And this is a Vortex Razor, Generation 3, 1 to 10 power. And again, and I got the kill flash on both the T1 and my LPVO. Whether you need them or not, I don't know, but I put them there because might as well. And it works well with the scope mount for the cap. I got the throw lever, which I like. Some people don't. I like it. Again, this is a Generation 2. This is a Voltor Mur Noveske marked upper, and it's got the hole for the type of fore ends that use a pin for anti-rotation pins. It's got that hole there. I don't use it with the BCM, but if I were to change out to a different fore end, it has that uses the anti-rotation pin. It has the hole there. Generation 2 lower, the best generation of Noveske lowers, in my opinion, after they modified it so it could work with Gen 3 PMags. I got the Radiant Arms Talon 45 ambidextrous safety. Guys Elite Super Dynamic Enhanced flat face trigger. I got the BCM Gunfighter grip, which I love these grips. I think they're probably the best in my opinion. And I do carry stuff in the bottom. I have a couple Allen wrenches so I can take stuff off quickly. And the main reason I want to take stuff off quickly is if I had a defensive gun use. This gun, when it goes into the evidence locker, is going to have the bare minimum amount of stuff on it, if it ever went there. It also has a copy of my suppressor tax stamp in there. It's a miniaturized copy, but it is a copy. The original is in gun safe. Phase 5 bolt hold open and release. It's basically kind of a fully integrated paddle with the bad lever. I like the bad levers, so whether you like it or not, that's up to you. My opinion is I like them. I got a PWS buffer tube and a PWS plate with ratcheting castle nut. I really like that. It's got the buffer tube's got holes in it so it can drain water out. It's a little bit lighter. And I got probably the best stock. My favorite stock, in my opinion, is the BCM, the angled one. It's more like it's got a nice cheek pad to it. My sling is a Blue Force Gear Vickers padded, and I just use 550 cord through my rail up here, and I have the HK hook clasp thing, and I got a little thing you can use to put around it so it doesn't make all the rattling noise from Blue Force Gear, and I just click it to the 550 cord so I can still disconnect the sling from the upper receiver. I feed my sling through the buff stock. Sorry if you hear the wind. It's a little windy right now, but hey, we got sun finally, which is really nice, as you can see. But I run the sling through my stock, and for keeping the sling all bound up here, just from those bungees, the shock cord thing that you can get from TRX Arms, I like. And this is my rifle. This is what typically rides in my vehicle. It's what I'll grab if something were to kick off, or if I need my rifle. This is the rifle that is most likely I'm going to use to defend my life, the life of my family, my liberty, and my property, and my family's property, and my family's liberty. This is my go-to rifle. Typically, I'll carry three magazines. These are empty, and again, the firing pin's removed, so this gun is safe. The firing pin's inside the cab, along with some live magazines. But this is the Raven Concealment Lictor thing, magazine carrier. Then I'd carry one in the magazine well like that. If I had to grab it, I just pull it back. Of course, if there was a round in the chamber, I would have just gone forward, but I have to release it like that. If I have to go grab my rifle, if I don't have my plate carrier or my time to grab my plate carrier or my chest rig, I just grab the extra mag, stick one in my back pocket. If I have time, I'd grab this one. Again, as you can see, they are empty. And the lictor. And if I could, I've tried this and it's not always the best. I'd try and get it here on my belt loop. Or I just click it in my front pocket there. Or I just ditch the lictor and stick it in my pocket as well. Then I got 90 rounds ready to go. And I practice fighting from this basically most of the time. I mean, I do practice from my plate carry and my chest rig, but this is how I typically practice my rifle. I'll reload it, pull it back from here, let it go. I have had one issue where I had a reload and it was on this lictor and I didn't, it wasn't fully clipped and it came out like this. And so what I had to do is just use the magazine well, strip that off, and I was ready to go. I talk about how really kind of I got to pick up these. Sorry if I'm off camera. I don't want to lose my magazines. Instagram account you should be following is from the gun counter. He always emphasizes buying magazines. You can never have enough magazines. I have been buying AR-15 magazines since really you can buy 30s again. So what was that, 04? And I would always just buy 1 or 2 a month. Sometimes if I had extra cash, or as I've earned more money, I'd buy 10, 20, 30, 100. And I just stick them in a box and I wrap them in plastic, stick them in a box, and I forget about them. I have now probably, again, I had kids and we buy diapers at Costco. I have diaper boxes full of magazines for AR-15s, AR-10s, and so SR-25s, pattern magazines, and Glock 19 magazines. I have boxes, literally boxes upon boxes full of magazines. And they're for me, they're for my kids, and in case they ever decide to ban stuff again. And you look cool, because you like to wear sunglasses at night. Probably shouldn't say that because there's probably a YouTube thing on that, but I'm a kid of the late 80s and early 90s, so I can remember all those songs. Take care. See